about 20 years. And I can tell you that going back to CDBG money origins, over the years, we've had issues with whether or not funding or the building itself, the room itself, could be used because it was CDBG partially funded. So there are a number of issues involving why that senior center is your senior center. And I don't know, I don't know how to give a contract. I don't know that I'm 1/7 of a vote. How I can give you a contract that says, I can tell you that I'm supportive of the senior center staying the senior center. The programming that is run out of the senior center and the exercise classes there were great for a lot of people. Even in the debate over this building and that building, there were individuals that are regulars with the seniors that advocated strongly for increased programming at the seniors. There are friendly faces in the audience that I distinctly recall coming to the podium and saying, I think the senior center could be enhanced with the community center. I think the purchase of, I don't know that it's really going to do much to debate board issues, but I can tell you there is some legitimacy to the CDBG grant money building that place and the commitment ongoing. But I believe that continues. I haven't heard anything, and again, we've been at odds, and there have been some really ugly board meetings over a number of these issues. I'm pretty firm in where my position was and is. The reality is, we have a bad situation right now, and when it was clear to me after a board meeting a month or so ago that I could be part of the solution or be part of the problem, I reached out and wanted desperately to form this committee, because I think it's the starting point of making sure that every voice is heard. It really is. And to get together with two individuals that I haven't gotten together with on a lot of things for a number of years, they value our seniors, I value our seniors, so we put this together. The ARPA money is another hotly contested issue, I think, that we could potentially use if we determine our need. If we have a request for mats or chairs, or I think that's an easy thing to resolve, but it needs to be a decision that's based on information that we get. And we're getting it loud and clear, priorities and itemizing them. Transportation, I like the idea of making transportation available, but keep in mind, we had one commenter earlier saying we got too many people and they're out of it. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at in terms of how to best service seniors. The comment about the mats and that was portable and non-portable, the idea was limited research, but there is research that I've done, and there are some of these rubber exercise flooring that does not need to be permanently installed intentionally because you can use it in different locations. So if we have an exercise room at the senior center that everyone is satisfied with, the padding that is there being easier on ankles, knees, hips, and so forth, this floor is not really anywhere close to that. This is really a difficult surface. If we could get mats, and I believe that we could, for relatively inexpensive in comparison, and those mats provided double duty, it would be wise to have, I wrestled in high school and college, and we had wrestling mats that we could move in and move out and roll them out, and same thing. And the trustee Dominguez done a little homework on these too. The rubber mats that are exercised have an interlocking sort of pattern. They can be installed relatively quickly and be portable. So that was the idea, Janice, not to create a permanent exercise room locked into that location. It's a multi-use building, but to be fluid and be able to respond to programming. Again, this is just one of the ideas. And just as a last comment, Janice, I am a senior citizen now. I didn't realize until AARP sent me a notice of my 55th birthday. And as an added, I've been going down to a retirement community in Florida for about 30 years since I met my wife. Her grandmother owns a piece of property there. She's 98. She can't make the trip anymore. She left the property to my wife and I. That's my vacation. So I go down for a week here and a week there. It's a 55 and over park. All programming is senior programming. And so when I got the clubhouse notice, I say I'm not really ready for that. You know, there's a big debate about who's leaving pool noodles out, but the thing that strikes me about this community is how tight they are, and how they're from all over the Midwest and Canada, and they're snowbirds. And so when there's a hurricane down there, or when there's a problem with somebody back here, there's a family. There's a family. They're not blood, but there's a family, and there's a sense of that with our senior center. And I think we obviously we can do better. Again, this is the start of that. Hopefully, it doesn't get politicized. Hopefully, it doesn't become just people who are interested in throwing grenades for the sake of throwing grenades. And there's real problems here, and it starts with setting aside differences and focusing on concerns that are coming forward today, and we won't solve them looking in the rearview mirror. We really won't. That's just my take on it. And I do, again, I don't think I'll be able to say it enough. I appreciate Trustee Deming and the supervisor. Supervisor could have sent us and not been here to listen to complaints. He did, and I appreciate it. So we'll continue and work to resolve as many as we can. I hope I answered it. I didn't, did I?
No, there's still a question about the millage and about the $10,000 wall.
Yeah, see, those are issues that, like, I have very strong opinions on, but yeah.
I can answer the wall. Wall's in place, it's built here, and it's part of the operation. It wasn't a one wall built for just her. It fit into the long-term goals of what we plan on doing here.
That's why
I'm
we
sorry,
made
what?
it secure, so
Pardon me?
she could use
It
it.
was built for the elections. Yeah,
And why is she moved?
Why did we move her?
yeah.
Because the overall goal in servicing the township for the upcoming election, where numerous people are needed to manage that, it was felt that it's better that the people come to the township and not an off-site location to accommodate that goal of long-term goal.
You-
She was also up there.
But you did the presidential primary
Here.
here,
This
and
was
it worked
not-
just fine.
This was not a site that we had security for. This is not a site that
We
has
did the
generator.
presidential.
Sir, stop interrupting me. This isn't a site that has a backup generator. This isn't a site that extra workers can be pulled from. So all of those considerations were taken, and the best location for the residents overall are at the township hall.
Okay, I can accept that today, but when you spent the 10 grand back for the February election, how come these weren't concerns?
What?
When you built the temporary walls here originally for the February
Because that
election.
wall- I get your question, because that wall fit into what we'll do here long-term. It's still in use. It's a secure.
But the
room
issues you just
inside
said about the
building.
generator, those still, the issues with the generator and everything still apply, so
Correct.
how is it good then but not now?
Because this is only used for programming.
Oh my gosh,
There
you're a
is
spin doctor, you know that? You're a spin doctor, you're a spin doctor, yeah.
This young man-
I'm all done, I'm all done, thank you,
No matter what question
thank you.
you ask, there's always a follow-up and a but what, and I'm telling you wholeheartedly, that wall fit into what the long-term use of this building is.
But that's not how you sold it to us, that's my point, that's my point.
Exactly.
I'm done, I don't want to interrupt the meeting, go ahead, carry on. Nope,
I
I'm all
can
done.
speak to the transportation question, just so that we have the right information out. We do have a partnership through Smart Transportation Funding. Richmond Lennox EMS provides smart shuttle buses. You can schedule a curb-to-curb service for a doctor's appointment or a grocery store or any type of visit, or if you want to come to our program. We do have a lot of people that utilize them.
Okay. We're being real.
So how are we doing here?
I'm just wondering, time-wise, I'm seeing seniors leave, and I really want to get to the part. I'm definitely gonna stay and listen to Mr. Rayner all day. That's not the issue. I would urge people who were here with the intention of volunteering, please stay. We're gonna have to, I wanna hear from everybody. There will be, difficulty. Please stay. If you're interested in being on the panel, please stay.
And if you can't, reach out to Michelle Vanderson, she'll reach out to you and, get your contact so we can communicate. Mr. Rayner?
Yes, I'll make this quick. I really, I'm not here to make any comments because I think I want to remind everybody, as Mr. Joseph has typically responded, we describe this as the comment section, but this is really what should be the Q&A section. Because 90% of our comments are questions that 90% of the time go unanswered, except for Mr. Joseph, who even waits till after the meeting to answer the questions that are never answered. So I think it's really ridiculous that our comment section are not really comments, and it should be a Q&A. The main thing I want to say other than that is I want to thank everyone that's in this room today. And I would like to ask everyone that's here to please come to the second and fourth Tuesdays, the township meeting. A lot of these things that are covered there are senior issues. They're issues for all of us most of the time. So if you're not paying attention, you can kind of watch it on YouTube, and some people do that. But to have a presence in the room at the township, I think is much more meaningful, and I think it results in more results. So we should really change this whole nonsense to a Q&A. I mean, that way, how about if we get some answers once in a while? And I'll tell you the best answer that we have for the concerns we have, and specifically for the individuals that conduct our business and take care of whatever our needs are in the community or do not take care of them. I suggest that we vote. Our vote is really our strongest voice. Now we have the vote coming up in August, which is especially important because I remind people that if you don't vote in August, somebody you might really, really like might not be there in November because you didn't vote for them in August. It's a little bit different for some of our positions. So anyway, thank you very much. Please participate more. It's so typical in America today, but it would be nice if we were maybe the exception rather than the rule. So thank you very much for coming, and please continue to participate and ask your questions. Thank you.
Christopher Pierce, Chesterfield. I just want to take a minute to thank everybody for coming out here, and also thank you guys for putting this together. This is great. It's a great opportunity for people's voices to be heard, and it's something that's really good. Echo Mr. Rayner, I wish there was more Q&A instead of all the comment section. We're getting a little bit of that today. Just for my next comment, just a little bit of history. I've been in manufacturing for just the past 40 years, so do the math, I'm a senior as well. But I've learned in my work field that when we have a catastrophic problem with a product, we assemble a team to tackle that problem. And we develop this team, and we meet regularly in the war room. We take care of things, and usually what happens is that that fizzles away once that problem is less impactful. So I think that's what happened here. We assembled this war team to tackle this problem that came up with the move to this building with the seniors. So I did notice on the flyer that was attached to the Facebook post for this event that you're looking for volunteers to join an advisory team, but it's also saying temporary advisory team. Is this a temporary team, or is this something that's gonna be permanent and continue on and assist the seniors? long-term. Thank you.
Chris, the formalness of the committee will be up to the board. Typically, when a committee is formed outside of the statutorily mandated committees like ZBA or Planning Commission, but we have Parks and Rec, Beautification, Public Safety, Historical Plan. All of these things are formed by the board, typically by the supervisor. The immediacy of this came about after the board meeting where there were a lot of questions, and my intention and my hope is that the board will use the time between now and the next board being seated to work out the format and the size and the value of the committee, and then make that a formal, my recommendation to the supervisor would be to make that a formal board appointment in the same way that we have the other committees, with a liaison or potentially two trustees to act as the liaison between the senior advisory committee. But you're right, this was sort of a war room assembly, but I think the long-term benefits are immense, and especially when you're talking about funding issues. I don't know that we'll have time today, but I'm involved with an organization in Grosse Pointe. The Helms is a nonprofit that was started for the senior citizens of the Grosse Pointe area and Harper Woods. They have a building and they're entirely nonprofit. They raise a tremendous amount of money because their seniors are important to them. Having had the opportunity to be involved with some of their fundraising, I thought to myself, why couldn't we do that here? I've worked together with the supervisor in days when we got a little bit more agreement, but started the Friends of Chesterfield Police. And that organization is a real asset to the men and women of our public safety team. We do a lot of things that we raise a lot of money, and I think we could do the same thing here with our seniors. I don't know what the future holds in terms of villages, and I'm not trying to avoid it or not. I just don't know, and I'm one of 7, and I'm one of 50,000 residents in this township. I don't know what the direction is. I just know that I have experience with nonprofits, and I personally would like to be involved with the formation of something like the Helms in Grosse Pointe, and begin to bring in the connections that we have with developers and investors and people that want to bring their businesses to township. I think I can make a very strong pitch for why a vibrant senior community would be good for their business and therefore good for their donations to our nonprofit. I've already spoken with some attorneys to help us, and it's part of my vision that I think is shared by people on this committee today. So it is a long-term commitment for me. What capacity I have, I may not be on the board. So I know that I'm here until November. Voters gave me that, and so while I'm here, I'll work to put this committee together and strengthen it for future boards.
All of Adam Chesterfield Township.
Closer.
Well, got it? I really, appreciate.
You gotta talk closer.
Closer.
Speak into this for 5. You gotta speak right into the mic.
Might have to raise it up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. All of Adam Chesterfield Township. Appreciate all the seniors coming to this meeting. It probably could have been avoided. This isn't the first time we've had issues. If we had better planning and more open communication with the seniors, we probably could have avoided more seniors being hurt. We could have had the facilities and the bathrooms already converted so that it's not an inconvenience for a whole month waiting for the toilets to get raised. But this seems to be a pattern with what I'll call projects. We don't have a in-stone project timeline telling us what each little attention to detail needs to be completed so we don't inconvenience not only our seniors, but sometimes all of our township residents. And there's other issues that are tied with what we'll call senior expenditures that just get left. When I was treasurer, I talked to the seniors all the time when they come out because they couldn't smoke in the buildings. And the senior men, when they play cards, they said, geez, it would be really nice if we had a pavilion. You know, we could go outside in the open air, we could smoke, because sometimes inside the building it was too cool for them. Well, the pavilion's been approved. What they asked for was a pavilion. They got an exit door, they got a area that's got pilasters and a wrought iron fence, and they have uprights, and for 2 years, the pavilion's never had a roof. So it's really not usable. And I don't understand why the project and the money supposedly was approved. You know, we over budget or overrun the project spending. I don't understand it. I've asked this question before. I've had requests for the benches around the senior pathway to be taken in during the winter time and maybe recoated or resurfaced. They're god awful, ugly, nasty, so the residents can't sit in them. But it doesn't seem like it gets any kind of priority. When I was a treasurer, they asked for picnic tables that they could actually eat off because the tables were old and splintered. I never got a result, so I went to Tractor Supply and bought one and put it out there so I had something clean to eat off. It doesn't seem like they get the service or what they ask for. And it's not really the big expenditures, it's the little everyday things. We're at the third iteration of the pathway for the seniors. And I went there the other day after the rain, and it's flooded over the current pathway. And just putting drain tiles and rocks in there isn't gonna fix the problem. Along with the problem with the Brandenburg Park, there's not proper water management, there's not proper grades being done. There's areas in the senior pathway that you'd have to dig a ditch on both sides to drain it. This doesn't make sense. We're in the third iteration, supposedly a senior pathway. Is it gonna be done right? Who has the seniors' best interest at heart to make sure what the little things that they want need to get done?
My name is Joe Katie.
No answers?
And here,
For Paul? No answers for Paul?
my name is Joe Katie. I live in Chesterfield. I want to say congratulations to this young lady that announced that she was 93. Yes, it's over as I listen. Thank you. I'm here basically because the last time I was involved in anything that had to do with anything with the seniors was during the COVID period. Like everybody else in this situation of the COVID period, I was having problems trying to get the vaccination when they first opened it up. It was like dialing for dollars. I went to the senior center. The women there were taking names. They would spend their mornings, because there are only so many slots open for shots, that they would work all morning. They had names, if they finally got through to somebody, that they could give you an opening to get a shot. It's the only problem, not a problem, but the only time I've ever had it. And it seems to me that since then, and I don't know if it's still a separate organization or it's all controlled by Parks and Recs, but we lost something when you got rid of those women. Did they roll into Parks and Rec? Were they Parks and Rec then? Did they just work that way? What happened? And it kind of looks like the same thing has happened now. Everybody's here with having a supervisor, putting together a committee of people on the board to tell you how they're going to implement the process that they put in place. The last time I was with something like that was with Trustee Joseph, probably about 10 years ago. We worked on a board. It was to try and come up, it was a different supervisor, Lovelock, to come up with a way to keep the water and sewer
department running and keep the water rates low. We went through probably months of an exercise doing that. Go to a white paper on it, say, here's how things should be handled and how to keep the water rates low as possible. Basically, it was to match whatever increases we had in labor and match whatever increases came through from Detroit Water and Sewer. Over the years, that's been dismissed. Nobody pays any attention to that. The water department is in deep trouble. Money's there, not there, that should be there. But it brings back to me, why is it that David Joseph has to come in at the last minute and try and rescue something? And how long is it gonna last? I've got a real problem. I think, if anything, you should have, the board should be consisting of people that you vote and you have it set up just like they have the planning commission, they have the zoning board commission, they got all these commissions, and all the people, they've got a representative from the board sits on them, but they operate independently, and they answer to the people that go to them. Here you've got something to put in saying, I want people to help you, help our board members to come in and give these processes that I'm gonna put in place for you. There's no response from you until after it happens. I think it should be the other way around. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, just so you know, if you go back and you look at the work that we did on that water and sewer rate advisory committee, we had a deeply fractured board. There was a lot of back and forth. The way that we were able to solve that immediate problem, and if you recall, the proposal was a 50% water rate increase when we formed that committee. We brought together stakeholders from the community, township staff, then soon-to-be treasurer Lafada, and we got some really intelligent people together. We made recommendations, and in a deeply conflicted political environment, that was an outcome that was great for the residents. Now, I understand you're like, it's not an ongoing. In terms of putting that committee together and putting this committee together, I can honestly tell you, Joe, this wasn't me coming in and rescuing anybody. We had, after the board meeting where the seniors came forward, I had a heart-to-heart, and you've been around the township, you know that I go at it pretty hard. And to try to humble myself, talk to people that I don't always agree with, say, I know that it's a political climate. We cannot allow the seniors to be politicized. I think we should put together this committee because I think we can do a better job of, we have talented people on the township employment side. We got a director that cares deeply about programming here. We got staff that cares. But for political back and forth, let's get together. And there was unanimous agreement. There was unanimous agreement on that. Where it goes from here and into the future, I think this could be a watershed moment for us to invest in the organizational infrastructure for our seniors to make sure that we don't have massive groups of our most valuable residents feeling unheard in a place that they feel that they're maybe not even safe, they're getting hurt. We could spend 2 days talking about who caused it. Again, if we're stranded on the side of the road, we can go back on the highway and figure out where the nail was that we ran over, or we could put the vehicle together and get moving. And that's really what I was hoping to do today. I know that there's frustration about decisions that were made, and maybe poor decisions, or who's responsible for this, but we have an opportunity here. And I would encourage you, in the same way that you did with the water rate, if you have the time, get involved with this, because you're a pretty knowledgeable guy. But there really won't be any room for politics in these meetings. In our friends at Chesterfield Police Organization, you can meet with people who are hardcore Democrats sitting next to somebody with a MAGA hat. We rally that group around the important issue, which is the police, and that's what I see with this group. It is not a committee to advise of the implementation. It is a committee formed to get information, to make better decisions, and hopefully that's something that we can do on the board level once we hear from the people that we're supposed to be leading and caring about. So we gotta hear from them, and that was the goal behind this committee.
Basically, you're accomplishing the same thing at this meeting. All I'm saying is, why not take it away from Parks and Recreation and make it a part of Parks and Recreation, and have these people elect their own committee and put forth the ideas, rather than get the feedback from the supervisor or whoever else, say, this is what we're gonna do.
Well, I think that's what we do with all of our advisory committees, and that's where I would like to see this go. I mean, I'm 1/7 of the board, but that's exactly where I think we're headed, which is to form a committee and then have the board have liaisons that can take information back and forth the way we do every other committee. Right now, you have an emergency, you have a problem.
I agree.
So we assemble what Mr. Barrett called a war room, but, you know, I've learned a great deal, being a trustee. One of them from Treasurer LaFave. He's a systems guy, he's an organizational guy. He's, despite the frustration that he might, invoke, but he sends us emails, I read them. There are really wise, systemic, organizational things that he has, that you have, from your business world, from your past life, from your, those are universal skill sets that can be applied to solve problems. I know that we're not gonna solve these problems fighting. I know that. And I know, and I'm actually gonna be good politically. I could grab a hold of my phone, Mr. Kirsten, that person is exactly right. You did this, and this wrong. People might applaud, but it won't solve the problem. It won't solve the problem.
I'm not saying the problem, I'm just saying this won't solve the problem either.
Let's start.
You know, you've got, from what I read, you're gonna cut the committee, you meet once a month.
Well, I'm gonna be here, Joe, I can tell you what my commitment is to the committee. We have one formal meeting a month. I'm gonna be in this center, various classes, cards, exercise, and I'm gonna talk to as many people as I can to bring information to those monthly meetings and so forth. That's what I'm committing to do.
Okay, now the other thing is on the agenda, it says to implement, or I don't remember the exact words, but basically bring together, implement the things that we want done. It was like, again, supervisor
The only
telling.
thing left on this agenda is, after open comments, is to make a call for volunteers. That's the next.
No, above that, when you go through it.
It was just an updates category, so A, B, and C were
We're
the
updating.
outlines.
We're telling you what's gonna happen, but you haven't really spelled out everything that's gonna happen.
We want to hear what the people
Yeah,
want.
let's not get into this,
We want to hear what the people want, that is the purpose. Hear from the seniors, what type of programming, what you want, what you need. That's why we're gonna have these meetings. David and I are gonna be up here. We're gonna meet, find out what the seniors need, where the problems are. There's things I heard about tonight. I didn't know anything about the hole over there on the floor. I knew about one lady. I didn't know about several. There's so much that goes on in the town. There's no board member that knows everything and everything that's going on. There's too much going on. All you can say is, we are trying to do the best. I will listen to you people. I'm a senior. I got a 92-year-old mother that's a senior. I've been around here all my life. Most of you know me. You're lucky. She would have been walking. She'd have been here. You will listen. That's the purpose of Dave and I getting together to do this. We have meetings in July, August, September, and October. And it all depends who's sitting up here from November. It's up to you, the voters. You will listen. I've heard things today. Do I have an answer for every question you have? No. Thing about the millage that Mrs. Young asked, I haven't heard anything about a millage. I can tell you that, I've heard nothing about it. I've heard people talk about, oh, we want something like Home Township. Well, if you want that, you better open up your pocketbook. That's a superstar over there. That's all I've got to say. Next lady talk, and I think, whoever wants to be on the advisory committee, put their names down. Michelle will get that. Next meeting we'll have on this advisory. Thank you.
I'm Lisa Minton. You know me, I volunteer a lot. Hello. Lisa Minter, I'm very active, and I am not rehashing everything. I think I'm here actually to say thank you. Don't get a lot of. I don't throw things at me. We came to the board meeting, right? You heard us, and I think that's the most important thing that we have to remember. You know, I look at the senior group, I look at us through a force, right? We're a large part of the community, we're very active, we're very vocal. So for me, I thank you because I think out of that board meeting came the advisory board ideas. I've had the option, I've sat on many advisory boards in my work life. They are a great thing. It's a great way to build a bridge. It's a great way to get positive feedback, to work with the board and the seniors, and I think it holds everybody accountable. So I look forward to having the board. I think it's a very positive thing, and it has to come out of the board meeting with everybody's gripes, complaints, whatever you want to call it, then I think it was worth it. But I think you also understand that the seniors have a big voice in this community, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen and work with us. Thank you.
Exactly.
Again, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for coming and letting your voice be heard. We've said it a million times, but if you're interested in joining the committee, within the next 2 weeks, we are going to narrow it down so that we have a productive group that will be meeting in those months. Thank you very much.